Anyways, so build a game. As mentioned earlier, you should see on the bottom left-hand corner, right where my mouse is kind of swinging around in loops, how to send suggestions to me. And I am keeping track of the chat right here. You can see this by me going like this and saying like, "Hoi." But anyways, so where were we last time? So if you know, the name of the game is that you bring us any sort of suggestions on the game that we're working on, so that we can use it and improve it and make it better and stronger. Um, so yeah, we have this. Oh, hopefully that didn't make us skip anything. Oh well, I guess. Where is this? No, this is getting the right scene. Well, let's play it and see where we're at. Oh, hello. Okay, so I have this in control, right? This plane in control, and I could potentially do this instead. Oh yeah, and space is shoot. I forgot about that. Ah, yes. So we got this far, and I think the objective that we kind of created for this game is Oh, I see radars here. Uh, there we go. So I was trying to search to see if there's a way to kind of have it procedurally generate a story each time you collect an item, and I haven't really figured that out yet. I tried a little research on the side to see if I can make that happen, but that would be my ultimate goal for today, to see if it can procedurally generate a story before I just kind of clean up the menus and then release it on itch.io at some point. But again, we are listening for any sort of, we are paying attention to any sort of feedback that anyone has. I know, again, I know I'm a full year late, or full hour late. So to be fair, I may have lost the opportunity to get all the people's feedback. But regardless, we do have this procedurally generated submarine game of collecting stuff. That's so ominous. I wonder, does hitting escape does thing? Yeah, it does. It gives a how to play. Not implemented. Have fun exploring. Click on the big orientation clock. Press and dig through the world. Sure. I should probably at some point give like more variety of materials to these blocks, because they're not. I don't know. They're not visually doing it for me. Uh, anyways, but yeah. So time to do some online research. How to make this such that. Oh, DuckDuckGo. Well, let's see if this online research provides any sort of fruits. But Unity procedural story. There's procedural animations workflow. Oh, okay. There is a political article for some reason in the search. Thanks, DuckDuckGo. I'm really interested in procedural animations. Harbor. And then there's procedural storyteller. Toodles. Let's see what this link leads to. Not anything. That domain was down. Maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, trying to think of a good way to make this work somehow. Like when I was doing a bunch of research on this, the ideas generally became stuff like, you know, it starts off with some sort of story and then going further from there. But I'm not a huge fan of that idea. I just kind of want the story to be just really silly and nonsensical in a way. I see only the title card. Correct. Doing research. So yes, that is on purpose, Greg. Yeah, I haven't. Oh, there's a Unity list for open source AI and procedural generation framework, and user guide, developer guide, main character. I'm not sure this is exactly what I want. Yeah, I'm not. No, thanks. uh, hmm. I don't have a lot of good ideas on this. What I could potentially do is, yeah, what I could potentially do is kind of have like a really, really awkward storyboard. So I'm just kind of thinking through how I want to do this. Well, I'll switch back to the not title card. Yeah. Yeah, how do I want to go about this? I think one thing I could potentially do is just make a flowchart. Here are the different story beats that you can encounter. Yeah, I think that might be the best way to implement it for the time being. And then as I go along that flowchart, I guess I'll just figure out what I want to do after that. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That's all I have to say on that matter. Give me a minute. You may be hearing me cough every once in a while. I haven't really gotten over my last sickness, and I think it's kind of getting worse actually. Thanks to, you know. Oh, this is the level generator. What? Okay. Okay. I don't need that right now. Thank you. But here's the player. I guess I'll drag and drop that level generator prefab in here. Oh, okay. That's what it's talking about. Yeah, replace anyway. Yeah, I think that would make sense. Okay, cool. So that actually helps a little bit. Now that we have an embedded nested prefab, what I'm thinking is this one has its own animator. Okay, so we can add in an animator on this. We can attach that animator, create a bunch of states, create a scriptable state that contains text, which could be potentially replaced. Does this have the translation system? I think it does, actually. The latest one. No? Yeah, this looks like an older project, so it probably doesn't have it yet. Speaking of older project, I should probably do this real quick. Where is it? There. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so there's a lot of updates on these. Why do we have this? We can remove this. We can update this. This will be fun. Yeah, while we do all those silly shenanigans, there's a couple of changes right here. Yeah, player prefab. I don't need this so far, but yeah, we'll say nesting the level generator prefab into the player. This should make it easier to edit how the level is generated. Yeah, commit to day 6 branch. While we're doing that, we go through yet another boring process of updating all these other packages. I should have probably done this while... Oh, yeah, there. I expected that to happen. Look at that. That's beautiful. I'm sure that magenta screen will be coming back very frequently. I did find out that the main reason why that happens is largely due to the automatic graphics chooser not doing the correct thing. So, for example, here and under other settings, right now it says color space for Windows. I can just click on that, and then right now it says Direct 3D, so I can click on that again, and then it'll return back to normal. So that's what fixed it for me. Just telling it like don't choose the proper thing. It should be linear. That's correct. Yeah, let's do GPU skinning. Let's do graphics shops too. I'm probably a complete jerk and just clicking on all the buttons in this case, but whatever. I have no regrets. Input handling, which is still going to be done with Input Manager. There's nothing to preview. Alrighty. Probably a WebGL. Same story. Autographical API. Oh, okay. So that has to be... There's no other choice, right? Yeah, there's no other choice. Static batching, blah, blah, blah. Make sure all that is in 4. Yeah. I don't know why the input is not taken into account. That's strange. I feel like that should be available for both. Oh, it is, I guess, now. And I just never saw it. Bunch of stuff, don't care. Shader graph, that's kind of important to me. And ProBuilder. Oh. Alright, so that updated all the packages. Oops, no, wrong button. Oh. Update packages to their latest version. Literally that. Just to verify, can you see the windows now? Okay, so sound procedures, all collectibles. The collectibles themselves should have a reference to an animator. And then said animator. Sorry, I'm just thinking this through. So I think what I'll do is under the level generator, I'll add an animator component. Oh no, the mouse has gone wild. It's gone rogue. Animator, yes. Good, good. It asks a bunch of questions. Update mode. Unscaled time, I guess. Always animated. I guess we can call this completely. It really doesn't matter. Well, let's just leave it always animated for now. I guess that keeps things simple. Well, there's those toon shadings I haven't really utilized at all. Toon shadings kind of doesn't look great on squares anyways. Scenes, prefab. Where will be a good place? Oh, animation. Player, bunch of that. Let's create an animator. Oh my goodness, there's so many things. Controller, and we want on this animation controller, we'll call it story teller. Excuse me. Pardon me. Then we want on our level generator to have the storyteller animator. And then we want to have this animator window open. Animations, animator, perfect. And right now it's telling us there's absolutely no states, which is fine. We'll create an empty state right here. Good. And I guess we can call this start. And yeah. So you can add behaviors on each behavior on the behavior tree now. So that's actually really cool. Yeah, let's just create a new script and call it story log. Create an ad. And now we need to figure out where the heck the story log is. Oh, it opened. Visual Studios. Where are you in the project story log? We need you. Maybe Git will tell us. Oh, it's in the assets. Alright, so story log, we want you in the scripts folder. Thank you. There we go. This will make Visual Studio kind of sad. Don't worry. We can always generate a new project. Nice. And there it is. There's our story log. Making sure that the chat is going perfectly fine. Alright, cool. And then it'll tell you, like, these are a couple of different states that exist. State move on state IK. Really on state enter is probably the only one I really care about. So that one is the one that I will, oh, I probably want that namespace too. So that one is probably the only one I'll care too much about. Cool. So, with that in mind, let's say, yeah, let's uncomment this, which I believe is just CK and Control K and Control U. And then what we really want is a multi-line string here. Oops. Serialized field. Oh. Multi-line. Private string. Log. And then we'll also have, I think, public const string prepend before log. Log 0 something to the effect. Excuse me. Phew. The ease of having a mute button, that was a sneeze coming. And, successfully expelled. I'm gonna have a private string, excuse me. Do I? String builder equal new string builder and then we probably need a script on that animator itself, because each state of these is actually a global script, so it's not very useful on its own. So we'll need probably a new script that simply keeps track of story history. That just keeps track of a queue of all the logs that you've read so far, I guess, is the whole point of this. Yeah, we will have, I guess we'll just have two lists. Private list, story log, all logs. Another all full logs, or all generated logs. Feel like I could make this a little simpler. Nope. Key value pair. Yeah, that should do it. So, that will be cleared. There's really no reason to do this. Well, yeah, there's no reason to do this. But we'll add a quick require component. Never mind, that's not useful. Well, we'll add a quick public void add log story log and then under the story log itself should yeah, we should have a single, I think what I need is a story history equals animator dot get component story history component. If history does not equal null, then go through this whole shenanigans of I guess I'll just add a string right here. Full text. That is not useful. But what is useful is a public int yeah, count get, well, I could just use this syntax. Return all generated logs dot count. I could also do public key value pair story log string enumerable all generated logs. Or I could make this simpler actually. Public, nope. Kind of want all that earlier. All this minus the enumerable, and just say this int index. And then it simply gets all generated logs index. There. So that should make things simple. Then when it does that, builder dot append format prepend before log and the history dot count. Builder dot excuse me. Yeah, I'll have to also append format log with history dot count. I feel like, yeah, I feel like the story log should actually have information on the animator. Alternatively, the history itself could keep track of the animator and any sort of its conditions. there's also the fact that I forgot to clear the builder. Let's leave it like this for now, and then I'll just say history.add log this builder.toString. Now people might be asking, like, why the heck am I using this instead of the plus sign for creating new strings? And a long story short of it is that it takes up less memory. I'm not going to go too far into detail as to why, but it's a quirk with C#. So generally speaking, if you're creating a lot of customizable strings, you want to have it done. You want to have it generated through the string builder rather than through the plus sign methodology. Technically, the plus sign methodology is actually more efficient from a processing point of view, but this is more memory conservative method and is the more favored way of doing so. We could probably add a little bit of formatting in this, like 00. There we go. That should make it so that it's always 2 digits. Yeah. And I have no idea where I'm gonna add this log into the onto the screen, because that has to be printed somewhere. I haven't thought of that. Whoops. Because how does the player work on the player prefab? Okay, it does move. This whole entire thing moves. Okay, that's actually good to know. I could do a really silly way of doing things by simply having it so that camera. So simply have it so that there's a that kind of sucks. Simply have it so that there's a the history keeps a reference on one of these views. I could add like a news ticker similar to the Little King story. That might actually be really cool, having a news ticker. Well, we'll worry about that and we'll just have it sort of add this information. This one we can just say all generated logs dot add new key value pair with log and full text. And then we'll take the easy route by simply having the full text appear under the log. That way, then this should have, whoops. An animator after all. We'll need to get a reference of that animator. Sure. And this one is worth a semicolon. And then we'll need to pull in some sort of events to make it so that you can progress the story forward that way. So let's take a quick look at what our animator is doing. Boop. When I click on this, yep, it gives me this huge log text. So I can just say begin. And then I can then probably copy and paste this, plop this right here, and then say end. We don't need that exclamation, new line, make a transition, let it know that I can transition from here to here. And then make sure that we need at least move next, so trigger next log. And then we can say next log. It doesn't really have an exit time, that doesn't really matter. I should not have a transition duration at all. Actually, kind of does not matter, but whatever. So then this is end. We can save all this and test to see if it works. So in theory, we should see on state enter. Okay, I see how this works. So on state enter, that needs to happen, and then that'll bring up the full text. That adds that log. Get that, blah, 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 blah. Probably would make sense to add a quick public string latest log. And then that will be get if count is greater than 0, then the latest log is the return this count -1 dot value, else return null. And then the collectibles. The log should appear when the collectibles is collected. And then the collectibles should... So the collectibles will need a reference to the story history, in this case. Fantabulous. Haven't really thought this part through. So how would a collectible get a reference to the story history? Wait, how is the collectible generated from the first place? Yeah. Right click. Here it is. So it's getting a random collectible here and then generating an instance of it. So what we could do is we could have it so the collectible has an reference to the story history. So I'm going to take the lazy route here and just say public story history logs, then make a private get and set method. Play the collectible sound effects and instead of it creating that, Well, what if we made it so that if logs does not equal null, then that logs dot latest log, and then collectible instance dot logs, which we need to then have a member variable all the way at the top. I could have, yeah, okay, so I returned here, and then I could just scroll all the way to the top. I think there's a shortcut for that too. Initial setup. We need a story history as well. There we go. And now in the level generator, we should be able to add this history. No, it's taking a while? Okay. Story history. Oh, whoops. Drop that there. Story history should have a reference to it should have a reference to the field, to trigger. Next log trigger, which should be just next log for now. And then when it gets to add log, it should then have an animator. That doesn't really work, does it? Yeah, so still that public void get next log. And then I'll have it so that the animator dot trigger set trigger to this. Then the collectibles can tell the log to get next log after it's printed the latest log. And in theory, it should already start with 1 if memory serves correct. So let's find out. Okay, good, so it keeps it. Oh, nice. Log begin, and then let's see if we can find another. Oh, there's another collectible right there. End. Okay, good. And then what happens after that? I think it just piles up infinitely, to be honest. Yeah, it's still at log 1. Interesting. That shouldn't be happening. Is there a reason why it only shows log 1? Why does it still say log 1? It shouldn't say log 1. Oh, because it only entered this state once. That actually makes sense. Okay, that actually is a good thing in my opinion. Alright, cool. So it kind of sort of works. We have a beginning and an end. That's what matters. It's worth noting that probably we want to add on this animator a random value. So int rand. I don't want an integer now that I think of it. Float. Random. There we go. That makes me a little happier. So then I'll say animator dot set float random dot value. And yes, I know it's complaining. Random float field. Return back, and there, have it be that way. So random will eventually be used to kind of have a divergent story. So that it kind of randomly chooses a branch. Alright. So we got that. Let's test to see if the randomly choosing a branch part actually works. So that creates that. This, if I can zoom this out in any way. Okay, well, I guess that's one way of doing it. Ending 1. Oops. And this will be ending 2. And we'll have it so that this requires the random value to be less than 0.5. And in this case, it'll have it so that it'll happen only when the random value is greater than 0.5. So we're going to find out if that does any good. We don't know what happens when it gets exactly 0.5, but I'm willing to overlook that. Begin. And we got ending number 2 this time around. Let's try that again. Oh, there's one down there. Come on. This is getting hard to navigate. We got the begin command. Lots of, okay, there's a lot of stuff around this layer. And that got us layer ending 2. I guess one thing that we can check just real quick is to see what the animator's parameters are. It's currently set to 1. That doesn't sound right. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Okay, got 0.6. What happens if I can tell it to return to that point? Oh no, we've reached the end of the universe. Okay, there's one. Ah. Okay, well, the numbers are working, it's just a matter of... It's just a matter of adding a story. Alright, well, I have to think about this carefully. How much of a story do I really want in here? There's also the fact that I need to somehow translate these at some point. Do I have the translated string in there? There's a lot of translated stuff. No. The short answer is no. How disappointing. I guess I can do that on a polished base, although that would kind of suck. But yeah, I can kind of do that in polished base. Adding and supporting translations. Yar. Well, that's a disappointing thing to not have in this project. It's 4:54 right now. I started at 4, so we only went about an hour, and we usually go about until 6 anyways. Yeesh. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting, writing a story from one segment to another. I'm trying to think if there's like a good, easy way for me to make something super duper quick. I guess one thing I could try making is like a state machine that just has 6 different outputs. Yeah, I could make it so that it has 6 different outputs. It takes in 6 inputs, 6 outputs, and then just come up with some sort of random text that keeps going on and on and on from there. So, hey chat, what kind of story should I add in? What should a story be? Quick poll. What should the story of this game be about? In the meantime, I need to figure out how to actually display that story. Give me a minute. A poll usually has choices. Correction. Survey. Did that disappear on me? I don't know what happened there. In the meantime, I'm just thinking through how I want to do this whole state machine shenanigans. It's probably my best bet for now. Yeah. Let me set up a state machine for the time being. And then after that, I can move to trying to display that text, figuring out how I want to display that text. And then let the chat tell me what I need to do in regards to putting together a silly story here. This will be a new state machine. I guess eventually I'll change the name to that. And then there's this entry and exit. Excuse me. And then this will have, whoops. There we go. Sure. By default, I'll go here. But this should check to see if the random value is less than, let's say, if it's just 4 entries, it would probably be helpful if it's just 4 or 3 or 2. Let's try 4. So that'll be 0.25. The next one is between. So greater than 0.25, but less than 0.5. That's an interesting naming scheme right there. And then greater than 0.5, but less than 0.75. And finally, I mean, this heavily implies we don't actually need this, because it just goes here by default. So yeah, I could do it this way, which is kind of silly, but whatever. So this one is random less than 0.25. This one is greater than 0.25, but less than 0.5. This one's greater than 0.5, but less than 0.75. And this is catch-all right here. So, random log 1, 2, 3, 4. Move this off a little to the left a little bit. Move these things a little closer. And then the next thing we need to do is simply have a transition from each and every one of these going out to the exit. And that transition should be super duper simple. It shall simply be no exit time, please. And it shall just be next log. So now that we have this state machine, for random logs, we should be able to random 1, random 2, random 3, random 4. Now that we have that, we should be able to just have the start go here. And in this case, we just need to tell it to say next log, and then that one is taken care of. So yeah, let's see if that actually works as intended. Oh, where'd everything go? So we should pay attention to the bottom of that screen. There was a story suggestion already. Oh, there's a lot right here. Okay, so it went for random log number 4 because it's 0.9. And according to console, it says begins. So that's random 4, which is to be expected. And then somewhere around here. And then ending 1. And then we should be expecting just ending 1 after that. Yep, okay, cool. So we finally got process for a procedure for getting story working. Project settings. We should fix graphic settings with LWRP. After updating all packages. Yeah, speaking of which, I need to make sure I actually save everything here. After saving all packages, graphics API needed updating. This commit fixes graphics settings with LWRP. Commit. Adding story elements. Having a beginning of a story generator that chooses 4 random outcomes on each state. This story is presented on the console when a collectible has been collected. Yeah. Publish branch. So here it is. You're a cybernetic cat who performs surgery on mice and can interact with multiple species due to some AI implant that your human master has once implanted. But the AI develops a consciousness and tries to convince you to kill the mice instead of saving them. Okay. That's a story. I'll see if I can figure out how I can make this happen. By the way, let's keep in mind that the whole game actually takes place on Saturn. Saturn's moon. I don't remember which moon it was. We probably need to fix the range that your player can spawn in. That's something that I should probably do real quick. Let's hear level generator. Maybe it's under level generator, I don't know. Top range. Oh, here it is. Start range limit. Let's say that is not a good value, and whatever that is, we'll divide it by 5. In fact, we'll just divide it by 10. There we go. there. And then while I'm doing that, I need to figure out. I just need to make sure this is correct. That's still being referenced. Okay, it is. Cool. Um, Having it appear on the console is fine and all, but we probably want it to actually appear somewhere else. Ugh. The news ticker thing would be kind of hard to pull off. I'm trying to see if I can think of a good way to make that work. Because it needs to know the width of that element. Uh, hmm. Hmm. Yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking right now. um, hmm. Yeah, if I go the news ticker route, that's might end up being really hard. Uh, oh no, I can do it that way. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, okay, I can do it that way. Uh, ugh. Excuse me. Let's do this. Alright, so there's the controls menu. Um, select camera, and there's this little shenanigans. But where this applies, yep, I'm gonna need to turn this around a little bit. Come on. Oh, I got the wrong side. Yeah. Yep, this is how it looks like right now. So, we probably want a sliver in the bottom right there. And I am thinking to myself that we can kind of pull in at the bottom. So the XZ plane, here it is. If we can put in like 20 units, 3D follow, 20 units, XY plane, 20 units from the top, and the YZ plane also 20 units from the top. How does that look? And then if I can add in a little UI panel here. yeah, panel, and have it be directly in the middle, and just have the height be 40. What does that look like in game? That is very tiny. That needs to be thicker. 30, 30, 30, and 30. And this panel is probably going to be 60. That's a lot better. Yep, that's a lot better. And then we're going to call this news ticker. Overwrite this. Yeah, apply all. Do it. And so now that we have this shenanigans, now in this log, it has an image which really is not entirely all that useful. As a slice that is, we can just make that simple. We don't need any sprite for this. There we go. We'll make it dark. I'll make it very dark. Then we can add in here yet another. We can actually add in empty here. But what it is. So it needs to be at least something like this. It probably should be on the left-oriented side, actually, like so. So then it's complaining about a bunch of things, which is fine. And then what it needs is a horizontal layout group, and make sure all this is set up, and a content size splitter, which the horizontal fit will be preferred size. Or min size. Min size I think will be fine. That will be left unconstrained. This is the log itself. And then we need a good old TextMesh Pro label, which is currently set to this. I'm surprised that the width is not affected by this. What's going on here? Auto size work? No, it doesn't. Why are you... Okay, that all looks fine. What happens if I set this here? Probably bad things. Yes. So why does that constantly keep decking downwards? That's the part I don't understand. This should be center aligned like so. Left aligned is fine. Wrapping disabled. But that should cause this to resize automatically because it's a horizontal group. And it's not doing that. Strange. Shouldn't. shouldn't have to think that both of these are width of 0 because right now they're doing controlling right there. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. There we go. I was using min size. That actually kind of explains it. So now that's negative 3.0. I can delete that. This is like this. Testing. Alright, so that should not be happening. That is due to probably this. So I can set that to 0. And probably set the, yep. So now this should, in theory, expand to the right, which it seems to. Okay. Just make sure that all these are also using the same fonts. Probably I want this font wherever it is. So the outline font material, I probably want apply to this as well. Okay. Now let's try testing that and see what that looks like. Yeah, okay, that looks good. It's still kind of tiny from a text perspective. Because is this supposed to be proportional? Oops, free aspect. Should be 16 by 9 usually. Oh, it's actually really thick by 16 by 9 perspective. Just not so with 5 by 4. Okay, I'm not too concerned then actually. Then we need to do some silly animations with this, which I'm not really all that looking forward to. Yeah, let's say, yeah, what happens if I add another right there? Okay, so that's what happens. Then what happens if I add? Okay, so that potentially could do the job. Not exactly in favor of doing that, but I probably want to take the lazy route in this case. Yeah, I probably want to take a lazy route in this case. First off, have this. I don't think this whole outline thing is actually doing anything for me. Okay, well, that didn't do what I thought it did. Alright, well, I guess I have to make a new material. Oh. Absolutely. Let's call it default material. But we're trying to access it? What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? Why are you not letting me change things? No. Don't do that, please. Could potentially just do this. Remove. Paste. Nope, that didn't do the job. Oh. Reset. Yeah, that took care of that job actually. I just need to center it there. 34. Yeah. Okay. This should go here. And then what we need is some sort of text. And now we need story ticker. And what the story ticker does is the story ticker keeps track of a number. Namespace, project. Oop. No. It will need at least 2 different transforms. This one will be the parent. The moving child. And this I think I'll need a proper namespace for TM Pro. label. I'll probably want a quick enumerator state too. It's probably enum state idle scrolling finished. Actually, that heavily implies I only need a boolean. Let's start off with just a boolean. Private bool is scrolling equals false. So, then we'll have it just simply go to update. If current index is, oh, we also need the story history. While this is true, if is scrolling equals true, fix me animate scrolling the text. Update the label and display the text. Fix me check if the text is done scrolling. If false is scrolling equals true, this is placeholder text, of course, else in fact, this should not, oh yeah, it's scrolling. No, this should be correct. Current increment current index. And then child that transform anchored position. I think this is what I want. So this might be a good chance to okay, I think that should do it. This simply needs to then check to see if the anchored position dot x is less than 0, which is not the correct criteria, but we're gonna stick with that for now. Reset the position of the child. Indicate to stop scrolling. Then we can update the field label here, which is through label. So we can just say label.text. Oh, there's set text too. Interesting. I don't really know why there's separate text. History dot current index dot value. And then we should tell it to start scrolling. Then float scroll speed equals 10. And then here we want it so that the moving child, we obviously need to grab the child position. And then I probably anchored position is not what I want here, but anyways, I want to kind of experiment with that. Current child position dot x minus equals scroll speed times time dot delta time. Set that to current child position. So that should in theory work. This is going to be really silly that I have to do all this weird setup. So there's a bunch of stuff right there. I will need to make the child, the parent, and the label set accordingly. The parent is going to be necessary because I don't know the left field, so that's actually what it's there for. But the story history. So let's see if this does what I do think it does. Probably not. Oh. Oh, there's that one's. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. It's set to that, which is really strange. So it never even bothered to animate from the first place. Probably because the anchored position is already at 0. So anchored position is probably not what I want. Dot position dot x plus moving child dot width is less than parent dot left. You know, I feel like I could just, if that works as I think it does. Yeah, what is rect? Is rect local references? Calculates in the local space of the transform. So yeah, it is. It is local. But that's actually useful because I need local position here. And they're asking please use X-Min, which makes sense. So potentially that could be one way of doing this. Then this one, I can say right here. I think that should work. Oh, it's really, really slow. But there it is. There's our ticker. It's super duper slow. But yeah. Kinda works. Let's let's double that. That is far too slow. Then let's quadruple that. Oh, that's not too bad. It stutters, but it's not too bad. Let's see if it properly resets in this wide form screen. Okay, well, we got a couple of items to test on. Watch that scroll past. It still could be slightly faster, I think. Alright, did it reset? Yes, it did. What happens if I collect 2? Okay, so I got random 3. That's positive. To be fair, I could just make this really fast, so 80. Oh, that's actually kind of a comfortable speed that I'm okay with. So we should be getting the last bits of the story at this point. That part could actually be darker now that I look at it. Yep. Chose 4. Yep, we got the ending. Oh, there's an edge of the universe right there. Oh, it's just a really large gap. Hmm. Yeah, this is not doing it for me. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna slightly bump that up. And then say yes. Override. Apply all. Alright. We got a news ticker working. Woohoo! You're searching life on Moon, but you only find pieces of life that once was. Clues hint to the collapse of civilizations. You were once a garbage collection machine. I mean, that's a good suggestion for a story too. We ended up not using these, but I'm gonna keep them around just in case. Then here we go. We got added news ticker to tell the story. Added a UI element, the news ticker, to tell the story that appears on the console. Not exactly the fastest way to tell said story, but hey, at least it fits in the UI. So now we need to write said story. I don't know. We don't have many good ideas on this regards. I'm probably going to be really silly too and just say that I don't like the fact that these voxel materials are like kind of getting repetitive to me. um, I wonder if I can somehow like I was wondering if I can somehow have like a Perlin noise generate a better color landscape. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm just thinking about how to fix colors in this game because I really don't like it. Kinda thinking this over. Yeah, that should be fine. Now the colors are all the same, so that doesn't solve that problem. But what I am thinking is, so that changes the metallicness of said colors. So then, what if I make it so that the voxels are chosen based off of location? So then, so the materials, that'll be fine with that. I feel like if I did it that way, that might not nearly be as fun. Yeah. Oof. Oh, my back. Let's see if there is a way in the level generator. Initial setup. Blarg, blarg, blarg. Do you have gradients? Oh, you do have gradients. Voxel colors. I guess I can also say const float range color variation range and make that I guess, do I want the saturation to be different in some way? Upper voxel colors, which is not going to make any sense except for me because that's what programming is all about, making up your own language. Upper voxel colors, lower voxel colors. And then when it's adding a voxel, go calculate the position. It's getting a voxel right here. It's setting up to the prefab. Perlin noise. Oh. Well, I kind of want this value, so is this on add voxel? Yes, it is. Okay, so yes, I kind of want this value. Perlin noise. Perlin noise. Get that voxel, prefab, get instance, grab that instance, then close everything else but that. I need the voxel itself. Yes, voxel script. What's there to change the renderers but material? Okay, it's there. We are recycling, yeah, because it's pooling that, we're recycling that voxel itself. So even if we change the color of the material, the number of materials that are being created as a consequence is probably going to be finite. So serialize field, renderer, change color. And then we'll make it so that we have a public color voxel color, which probably is not useful, and we'll have it set to change color dot material dot color equals value. Yeah, that should do. That should do the job. And then it's grabbing an instance right there. Get instance of voxel. Instance dot voxel color equals dot evaluate Perlin noise mathf.lerp no color.lerp please. Yes, thank you. Awesome. And then lower, to be fair, the lower actually it needs to be up first. Dot evaluate Perlin noise, and then random dot value. There we go. So that should change the color of the voxels if I properly set up the voxels themselves, which needs to be done. Okay. Where is set voxels? I think I updated that one already. I did. This one needs this. This one needs this. And this one needs this. And then the level generator, you and I need to talk. This is the upper voxel colors. So can be this. Oh, that's alpha. That's not what I care about. It can be this. 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 Red is actually a really dark color. And it can be... Can you not add one more notch? Oh, okay, I guess not. Can be this. Sure. And this I'm going to say as new. The lower limit is going to have that except HSB, thank you. The value will be significantly decreased. Oh, but the saturation will be increased as well. Cool. This is the only one that kind of stands out to me. Alright. So see if that does anything. Yeah, there we go. And we actually got random color variations too. So in theory, if I restart this, yep, completely new land. Oh wow. Huh. Maybe using Perlin noise function was not exactly the best choice here. It may also just be that the evaluate function is not working as well as I hoped. Yeah, because it's kind of lacking in nuance. Oh, I know what happened. Okay, yeah, the Perlin noise is not useful. Um, hmm. So for the heck of it, how much of an ice cream is it to use? Just a regular old random value. Okay, not too bad. It kind of gives a whole thing like a very inconsistent look. Yeah, it kind of gives a very inconsistent look. I'm thinking like... So offset coordinates. And it's... Okay. I don't know. Uh... Oh, where's this? The initial position. Okay. So I can just have this initial position set up, and then I'll just call this color position. And then I'll figure out where the heck this is referenced. Okay, perfect. So it's all this, and then do the same bells and whistles for this. I'm gonna also do material position as well, because I feel like that's also relevant. Um, Y, Z. Ah. Uh, da, 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 da. Add voxel. See if the get voxel here is what I think it is. Float value. Go through all voxels if consider range, not consider range. Get cached. Get voxel cache. Add. Return a random voxel. If voxel count is greater than 1, keep going and choose. Oh, I see. Okay. So there's a consider dot range, which I completely forgot about. I'm not entirely sure I agree with this approach. I know why I did that. I could just choose a random voxel. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. I'll just choose a random voxel, to be completely honest. Oh, how I have chose differently. Yeah. So, return all voxels and this shenanigans. Yep. Then I really don't need the material. Yeah, I really don't need this material position then. Well, let's play and see what happens. So the 3D follow camera there is kind of more important to me because I'm trying to check to see how shiny a material is. And I can already see some of these are super duper shiny. It doesn't actually break the immersion that much, that certain things are more shinier than the others, because it's hard to actually see on any of these other camera views. Yeah, so that's fine. It actually kind of worked out to its advantage. So I don't really need this material position. I do need a color position, however. Because where this is referenced, I will need to calculate the Perlin noise for that area as well. So right now the Perlin noise is completely random, but if I can do this same exact coordinate calculation, but this time with a color. Yeah. Calculate color noise. That's fine. There we go. There's strangely not a whole lot of granularity in the whole color thing here. Offset coordinates, noise coordinates, code's definition. Radius from the player. Color noise coordinates. Let's bump that up to 0.2. See if that does anything. I don't see the colors changing. This may have been a bad value to choose. Is it bad luck or is it really bad numbers? Oh, there's some variation. Oh, look at that. Starting to think it's bad values, so kind of bring this closer to that instead. Oddly, mostly green. Actually, does Perlin noise give you a value from -1 to 1? Yeah, let's check that out real quick. I think there's a not loop. There's a repeat. Loops the value t per ln noise so that it is never larger than that and 0. I think that's the main problem. Try that. There we go. Yeah, now we're getting a little bit of variance. Now we could probably, I'm gonna play around with this value for a bit. This will probably look terrible. Surprisingly, no, it doesn't. Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, it is. It borked the algorithm. Alright, I'm kind of satisfied with the color schemes here. I should also search for debug.log. Bunch of scripts. Collectibles, this is the one. That was not a whole lot, that was a whole lot of effort for this single thing. But okay, whatever, I don't need that anymore. Updating colors. Updating how the colors on each voxel is generated to look more consistent and pretty. Commit. Alright, well, we got all that shenanigans out of the way. I guess the next thing I need to work on is putting together the story like I've been avoiding this entire time. Take a deep breath. This is gonna be a doozy. Okay, so I guess a good question I can ask is how many of these do I want? Like how many of these random 4 logs do I really want? Maybe make it so that the game ends after you got 10 or 20 collectibles. Maybe 20 collectibles. But you move very slow. So 10 sounds like a better number. Yeah, let's go with 10. So we need to make 9 random logs and one ending somehow, some way. So with that in mind, let's see. Well, yeah. Segment 1. Segment 1, 0. That's a really curious numbering scheme. 1, 0, 0. 1, 0. Okay, yeah, so that's fine. I got it. Segment 1. Segment 2. We'll have it so that segment 1 transitions into the state machine of segment 2. And then that will go into segment 3. Which then goes into segment 4. Oh, segment 3 doesn't have a space. Starting to regret this 4K TV screen. Segment 5. Six, 7, 8. Excuse me. I could probably extend this story log to include like is end or something like that. Yeah, I could probably do something like that. So instead of story log this way, open, and I'm going to be a herky jerky and just throw in like a public bool is end. That is not gonna fly well. Bool is end equals false largely is end, and then when the story ticker grab the ticker, check to see if the text is done scrolling, indicate to stop scrolling. There is that. Um, so it increases that. But what if instead of this, else if history.count minus no, that doesn't quite work. If history.count is greater than 0 and history.count minus 1 has a key whose isEnd is double equals to true, we should quickly add a private bool is game finished equals false. Make sure that we don't loop this a couple of times by accident. Else if is finished double equals false, and this set is finished equals to true, because at this point the game is done. And then we want the my Omiya Games dot singleton dot get scene manager. Oh, okay. Scene transition manager dot where's credits? Load credits. So, let's see if this properly works. We probably don't want to go through all these shenanigans. So, thinking the next best route is to simply have it so that oh, I kind of regret that decision. Okay, here. It's right now doing that. I can delete that and then just remember that I need to do that. Next, go here, select next log, make sure that this is checked. Save everything. Give it a shot. Try to collect one collectible. It is 6:27, but I was a full hour late, so hopefully I'll get this part done. And verify that something is not working. Okay, so log 0, begin. I've already collected one collectible, so as soon as the other... Oh, it might actually just end up restarting right here. Oh, nope. It didn't. Okay, good. Oh, so we got an ending. Oh no! Collections will modify. Enumeration operation may not. Okay. Lots of errors right here. Invalid operation. Destroy all. Oh, I fixed this problem earlier. It is not, well, all I can say is it kinda sorta works. It works as intended, except this scene manager bug, which, I did in fact fix a while back. That sucks. Oh well. Bugs. Happens all the time. It's kind of starting to exhaust me a little bit. I will be, hopefully, writing up a proper story, next stream. It looks like we have at least one more stream, to do. So, yeah. That's what I'm currently thinking about. But I am starting to get slowly exhausted. So I'll keep these, I'll make sure that I have these stored somewhere. First off, bringing up the credits when all story beats are found. Making it so that the credits appear when the story beats are found. Commit to that shenanigans. Yeah, other than that, this looks fine to me. Let's see, I know that I made a lot of changes to this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think through some of these things in the near future. Okay, yeah, so I made changes to those. Okay, well, I'll figure it out, I guess, when I get... Oh, it's all on the projects. And which one is you're referencing? Build settings is... Okay, so they're referencing the right thing. And then the only other thing I'm gonna say is it might be worth making the, it might honestly be worth making the collectibles somewhat more rare. It's right now at 0.01 probability, so... collectible probability. So let's divide that by another 10. There we go. So let's play around with that. That's gonna be probably the last thing I do before I try writing up a story entirely. Oh, seeing something here. Okay, and then we should be seeing like a random note or something. Yep, random 3. Oh. Oh, there's some weird crevices here. Oh, down. I may have made the probability a little too small, so I might want to double that ever so slightly. Of course, doubling is always slight. English. Apply and level generator. Okay, doubling kind of made it really easy. Let's try replaying then, see if my minds are not playing tricks. Yeah, it does make it a lot easier. Okay. That's... I mean, that kind of makes... Um, hmm. Hmm. So that times 1.5. 1.5, yeah. There we go. Okay, that's not too bad. This is better than before, I think. I can also make it so that, like... I can also make it so that the probability of the Saturn appearing on an empty space is drastically lower. Hmm. anyways, I'm having a bit too much fun with this. So I think that's kind of a good place to end it off, everything. Um, make sure that I've, of course, committed everything right here. Um, yeah. Updated where all the lowered probability of collectibles appearing. Adding padding. So yeah, that's how far we've gotten so far. I think all of that progress looked really good. I'll probably merge all this into the day 6 progress into the current master branch. I should also push that in general too. So in theory, when you switch up to, you know, our GitHub page, you should see something to the effect of something that looks like this. Yeah, and I wonder, does it actually show graphs? It doesn't actually show any graphs. Oh, strange. Okay, well. Okay. Well, let's switch things over. So, yeah. Looks like we got one more stream to work on adding a story. So, looks like from 2 weeks from now we got something real quick to work on. But hey, I'm looking forward to the end results of this. I know the story has already been suggested in the chat, and I'll get around adding that information in the near future. But yeah, I think that'll be like the last thing that we add in, just a silly story to go along with the whole game. So yeah, thanks for joining everyone, and I'll